Welcome to this standing sequence for the sciatic nerve and ITB. We are going to need a block handy today, just so that we can get a little bit of movement going in the hips for our standing stretches. Alright, so we're going to begin with the feet out just wider than hip width apart, and have the hands onto the hips, and we're slowly going to make our way down into a ragdoll. So bending the neck, bring the chin towards the chest, and take a slight round through the spine with the elbows draw in. And just vertebra by vertebra, making your way slowly down into your forward fold. Just let the arms hang down. If the hamstrings are feeling a little bit tight today, you're welcome to bend the knees. If it's more comfortable, you're welcome to hold onto opposite elbows. And if the feet aren't already more than hip width apart, you can just shuffle them out now. And just take a little bit of side to side movement. So alternating the bend in the knees. Swaying the hips from side to side. Just easing into the hamstrings. Maybe you can feel it down into the calves as well. Really let the head, let the neck relax down. Taking 2 more breaths. We're going to come to stillness. Just hanging in your ragdoll. Releasing the arms. If you're holding opposite elbows, we're going to bend even more into the knees and take a slow roll up through the spine and make your way to standing. Alright, big toes touching. We're taking a sun salutation A with some side planks and our horizon pose to stretch out the outside of the glutes. Big toes touching, arms alongside the body. Taking a deep breath in, reaching the arms up. Exhale, fold it forward. And on your next inhale, finding a halfway lift. Hands to the mat, we're stepping back into your high plank. Holding it here, we're going to shift it open to our side plank. So we're turning the left toes out to the left edge of the mat. And then step the left foot halfway up your mat for a 3-point side plank. Left arm lifts up, breathing here. And slowly lower that right hip down to the mat. If you feel like it's a little bit tight here, just shuffling that left foot a little further down the mat. This is your horizon pose. We're going to just gently press into that left knee, roll onto the outside of the left foot. And if that's feeling quite intense, you might just want to ease in and out of the stretch. Opening it out to the side and then bringing it back in. Keep breathing through the nose. And then hold it at your deepest stretch. Try not to sink too far down into that right shoulder. There's still a little bit of length happening in that right side. And we're going to make our way slowly back into that 3-point side plank. So that right hip lifts up. Bring the hands round to the top of the mat and step it into your high plank. We're going to take it on the other side, turning the toes out to the right edge of the mat. And then step the right foot halfway up your mat for that 3-point side plank. Right arm reaches up to the ceiling. Breathing through the nose, really lifting up through those left obliques. And slowly sliding that left hip down to the mat. You can shuffle the right foot further down if it feels too tight in the hips. And we're doing the same thing that we did on the other side, so gentle pressure into that right knee with the hand. You can play with bobbing that right knee out and back in. Just Easing into that stretch on the outside of that right hip. And then hold it at your deepest stretch. Still find a little bit of length going through that left side. Last 2 breaths. Making your way back into that 3-point side plank. The left hip lifts, right arm lifts. And bring the hands back around to the front of the mat. You're going to step the right foot forward and come into a triangle pose. So the left toes point straight out to the left side, right toes straight forward. You're welcome to move the block to the inside of that right leg now, with the left hand onto the left hip. You're just gently opening it out, gaze past that left shoulder. And we're going to just play with the stretch on the inside of that right leg. So bending into the right knee to ease the stretch, and then straighten it back out to deepen. Moving between the two, flossing that nerve out. And making your way into that deepest stretch. So perhaps it's with the leg a little bit more straight. Holding and breathing. So find a little sway with that left hip from side to side. Making your way into your warrior one. So we're going to turn to face the front of the mat. Left toes 45 degrees out to the side. Reaching the arms up. Take a nice big breath. And then slide the hands down to the hips. We're going to keep that right knee bent. Round into the neck and the shoulders, the upper back. And just tilting the pelvis forward so that we can find a nice stretch down the front of that left hip. And if you want a slightly deeper stretch down into that left hip, tilting the right ear towards the right shoulder. And you can play with lifting the head and taking it back over to the right, or opening that left hip and then closing it. But still keeping that rounded upper back, that slight tuck of the tailbone. And hold it where you feel your deepest stretch down the front of that left hip. And we're going to take one last breath before we change sides. And rolling up, tall spine. We're going to just pivot around to the back of the mat to find that triangle pose. You can have the block handy again at the inside of the left foot. So find that heel to arch alignment and bring the right hand to the right hip. Left hand comes down to the block. We're welcome to rest it onto the left leg. And we're alternating the bend, well, between bending and straightening that left leg. Easing out into that stretch in the inner thigh. And then holding it at your deepest stretch. And sway that right hip from side to side. And making your way all the way up, we're coming into our warrior one. So you can move the block, face the back of the mat, right toes turned out 45 degrees, hands to the hips, and we're taking that slight rounding into the neck and the upper back with the tilt of the tailbone forward to stretch out the front of the right hip. And holding here, you can either move that right hip open and then closed. We'll play with the stretch that runs a little bit higher up towards the neck. Maybe feel it down the arms as well. Just taking a bit of movement here. And hold it at your deepest stretch. Take 2 more deep breaths. And roll up through the spine. And you can straighten the legs, just give them a little shake out. Take a moment to come to standing, feet separated, shoulders nice and relaxed, and you can close your eyes. Take a big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Noticing how your legs are feeling after your short practice. And bring your chin to your chest, opening your eyes. Thank you very much for practicing with me. Namaste.